Get ready to hear the truth about America on a show that's not immune to the facts with your host, Dan Bongino.
Listen, I am not a political strategist. I am an opinion commentator. I have a show. I enjoy my show. There's power in an audience. One of the greatest powers in the world is the power to command attention, correct? Right? You don't need to have legislative or executive power to move the needle. The Bongino Army's strong because there's a lot of us, right? Why are there a lot of us? There are a lot of us because we happen to get out ahead of the stories and be 3 to 4, sometimes 6 months ahead of a story. One of the things I told you about a while ago that you're now seeing materialize through power, I mean actual formal executive power, that we don't have. I'm not the president. We all get that. Donald Trump is President Trump now. One of the things you're seeing that we discussed early is, wait, do I have it? Yes, I do. Hold on. Is the Dan Bongino rock'em sock'em robots theory of politics. You got to punch this dude right in the grill. Hey, get in there. Knock this sucker out. The rock'em sock'em. Oh, they didn't hear me. I rock'em socked him myself. Jasmine, we just brought on Jasmine as our business manager. Jasmine, go. Can you get us a new rock'em sock'em robot? No, it didn't break. It didn't break. These things take a licking and keep on ticking. The rock'em sock'em robot. No, this is not the Trump dance, okay? I told you that this is what Donald Trump was going to do. Did I not? Look at that. His knuckles still ready to go. Yeah, baby. He just keeps firing bombs at them. What's the benefit tactically? Tactically speaking, tactical politics, to rock'em sock'em robots. The second the media wants to complain about, oh my gosh, January 6 pardons. Oh my gosh, look at this permitting EO the environment's going to explode. The second they want to complain about that, he hits them with something else. Right before we got on the air, he dropped another true social bomb about Russia ending the war. The media doesn't know what to do. Rock'em sock'em robots. It's nice that it looks like the Trump dance. This is the way to roll. Steve Bannon calls it Flood the Zone, another great name. I don't care what you call it. Me and Bannon probably have the top 2 MAGA podcasts out there. There's a reason that they're up there because we're right. This is what you have to do. I got a big show for you today. Thank you for bearing with me yesterday. Special time yesterday due to the get flying home debacle. But we're here. I slept like a champion. I was snoring like crazy last night because I was so tired. Big show. Try Beam's Dream Powder. I know. I did that. I beat you to the punch. I know where you were going with that. Try Beam's Dream Powder. Get up to 45% off for a limited time at shopbeam.com/Bongino. Use code Bongino at checkout. Today's show also brought to you by Zippix nicotine toothpicks. You know, I was a big fan of their caffeine toothpicks. Still am. I take them with me everywhere. Zippix brings you a totally satisfying, convenient, and great-tasting way to help curb your nicotine cravings. Now you can get your nicotine fix anytime, anywhere without having to rely on smoking or vaping. The Zippix toothpicks give you an easier, better, and more discreet way to help get your fix. They're available in 6 great long-lasting flavors. They have options in 2 milligram and 3 milligrams of nicotine. They taste pretty good. This is one of the most cost-effective nicotine products on the market and are proudly made in the USA. Zippix also offers caffeine and B12 infused toothpicks. I use those. If you're not a nicotine user or if you're trying to get away from your nicotine habit, they're really convenient. I keep a few in my pocket in a little container. Ditch the cigarettes, ditch the vape, get some nicotine-infused toothpicks at zippixtoothpicks.com today. Zip more, smoke less. Zippix nicotine toothpicks. Get 10% off your first order by using code DAN at checkout. It's ZIPPIX toothpicks.com. Zippixtoothpicks.com. Must be 21 or older to order. Warning, product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical. Ladies and gentlemen, the first bell back in the studio for the regularly scheduled time at 11 a.m. So good to be here. How many people? We got 70,000 people 4 minutes in. Nice. Yesterday, I think we were the 3 or 4 on the live stream charts. Oh, no, actually, we were number 2. I'm sorry. We just lost to some live coverage of the news. So thank you for supporting the live stream. I'd really love to see you here live, but if you have to watch on demand, that's okay. 11 a.m. Eastern every day. Rock'em sock'em robots, ladies and gentlemen. It is happening already. I told you it was going to happen. This is the way to do it. The media wants to practice because this show believes in deciphering for you how political tactics work. Saul Alinsky, as you know, was a left-wing organizer. Saul Alinsky was a bad guy, but he wasn't a stupid guy. One of Saul Alinsky's rules is isolate the target. In other words, if you don't focus all your fire on one person, you're never going to break the enemy's line. You got to concentrate fire in one direction. When one guy's shooting this way, one guy's shooting that way, you don't have a concentrated effect of a volley going in one direction. You got to isolate the target. Trump is making it really hard to isolate the target by giving them 100 targets to target. So here's the Trump True Social post on Russia, by the way, saying he's going to cut a deal. The media's losing their minds about this. But yesterday, they were losing their minds about this cut right here. Here is Tom Homan, the border czar, saying, hey, man, you thought we were kidding about these raids? As they're losing their minds about the raids, they're trying to lose their minds about Hegseth and the Russia thing, but they can't. Rock'em sock'em robots. This is the way to do it. Hit them every single day with 10 more things. Here's Tom Homan on they were dead serious about these raids. Check this out.
Based on your initial schedule, that today roundups of criminal illegal aliens and the process of deporting them would begin. That seems to have been put on hold for a little while. When can we expect that to happen? Where will it begin?
No, it started.
It has started.
ICE teams are out there as of today. We gave them the direction to prioritize public safety threats that we're looking for. So we've been working up the target list. There was some discussion about Chicago because the specific operational plan was released. So we had to look at and reevaluate, does this raise officer safety concerns? And it does. Mm-hmm. But we've addressed that, and teams are out there effective today.
Now, of course, the media is dying to do what? They're dying to put out pictures. Oh, my gosh, here's someone crying. Here's another person crying. Notice the media is not covering the family of Lake and Riley and others as they're going to be ready to sign the Lake and Riley Act, who I assure you shed a whole lot of tears about the tragic loss of their daughter. Notice how the media chooses to focus on you, the American people, getting screwed over by a group of people violating the law, but they focus on the people violating the law, not you. You see how they do this? So this is what the beauty of Rock'em Sock'em Robots. The minute he hits them with this, he hits them with something else. Here is a Trump commenting on, hey, man, we're going to designate these cartels. He's in the Oval Office here, which is a great sight to see, by the way. I've been there many times. Love it. Here he is commenting on, you know those drug cartels? We're going to treat them like terror groups. And I love the way he just leaves it an open-ended question. Hey, you going to have special operations teams go in there and like wipe these guys out? I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. I guess they'll have to look over their shoulders for the rest of their life. That's the way to do it. Keep them guessing. Watch this.
President Trump, if cartels are now going to be seen as foreign terror organizations, would you think about ordering U.S. Special Forces into Mexico to take them out?
Could happen. Stranger things have happened.
Stranger things have happened. That's the way to do it. Keep them guessing, man. Don't tell them your plan. Just kick them in the nuts when they have no cup on. That's exactly how to do it. Here's another one. Nick Sorter on Twitter. Just in, President Trump's Department of Homeland Security just fired the entire advisory committee, citing misuse of resources. Biden's DHS funneled billions to facilitating illegal immigrants, so this move is much needed. DHS is finally getting an overhaul. Again, every single time they try to focus on, oh my gosh, Pete Hegseth. Oh my gosh, Tulsi Gabbard. Oh my gosh, we've got border raids coming. They don't know what to do. Here, of course, are the memorandums. You can see them for yourself. They don't know what to do. They don't know what to do because they can't focus on a story because Trump won't let them. This, listen to me, folks. This is the mistake they know they made in 2016. It's not their fault. They were new to politics. Trump's benefit in 2016 to you was he was new to politics. The downside to being new to politics is they were unfamiliar with the process. Trump was a businessman, running a real estate empire. He wasn't familiar with the machinations of politics every day. Now he gets it. This is why Trump term 2, as I said on my radio show yesterday, I told you the fact that he's in no rush right now, under no pressure for re-election is the benefit. Everybody said, oh my gosh, this is terrible. He's going to be a lame duck. He's not a lame duck at all. He's got his sons, they could run. He's got JD who could run. He's not a lame duck at all. Now he doesn't have the pressure for re-election, and that's why all this stuff is happening. He's hitting people all at once with all of this stuff, and they don't know what to do. Here's another one they were attempted to lose their minds over. Here is the commandant of the U.S. Coast Guard, Linda Fagan, as Libs of TikTok points out, who's been terminated. Apparently spent more of her time worried about DEI initiatives rather than this thing called the border. You know, we have a coastline that's kind of like our border on the ocean. Maybe that's what we should focus on, drug interdiction, illegal migrants, and this other stuff. Here is your former commandant of the U.S. Coast Guard that Donald Trump unceremoniously gave the boot to. Check this out.
We currently have nearly 40% women enrolled at the Coast Guard Academy. I'm really excited about the talent and the diversity that I see coming through the academy.
Yeah, you shouldn't get too excited. There's nothing to get excited about. I'll tell you what I'm excited about, you exiting the United States Coast Guard. Folks, we are back to merit. We are back to Rock'em Sock'em Robots. We are back to a president who gets it. We are back to a president who understands the world transactionally, because that's how the world is. You want to get involved in emotions? This is the wrong show. We're not doing it. I'm telling you, you're making a mistake. I'm just trying to protect you. For our P1s and the people who love the show, you're here because you want results. That's why you're here, and that's why I respect you, and I hope you respect me back. I'm guessing by the audience we have every single day. You guys understand, this is the results show. It's not the emotion show. This guy did this to me in the past. This guy was great in the past, now he's bad. This guy was bad in the past, now he's good. I don't care. All I care about is the now and what you're doing now to advance the football. And the bottom line is Donald Trump is a results guy. Results we have not gotten with George W. Bush, Ronald Reagan, anyone else. Reagan took 8 years. I loved Reagan. I'm a huge fan of a lot of what Reagan did. Not knocking the guy. He's long since passed. I'm simply telling you, this guy is in the FO portion of the F around and find out book that's sitting right on his desk right now. And he's hitting them with Rock'em Sock'em Robots. Here's Ian Yeager on Twitter. Breaking. Former Secretary of Homeland Security Jay Johnson said there could be mass resignations from the DOJ following Trump's decision to pardon the January 6th prisoners. I got a section coming up on January 6th pardons in a second, so have no fear. We'll get to that as well. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know how this is a bad thing. You've got a bunch of deep state swamp rats who were perfectly okay with a weaponized process to target people. I am not telling you nobody did a single thing wrong on January 6th. That's not this show. It'll never be this show. I'm telling you the full story of what happened that day has been hidden for a long time because they don't want you to know about federal involvement on that day. They don't want you to know who the pipe bomber is. And until they're willing to disclose who was who did what, and who was on, well, you know, who was there on the scene that day, then I'm not willing to take their word for anything. And there is zero chance the process was fair to those people. Zero. You're telling me BLM and Antifa burned down American cities? Barely nary a person served a day in jail outside of a few people who were given sweetheart deals. And yet, if you were in the Capitol that day, you have to go through this communist-like process. Bullshit. You want to resign? Resign. See you later. Here's Trump's True Social post on yet another one. They're removing appointees by the thousands from the president's office. Here are 4 people dismissed. Jose Andres, Mark Milley, goodbye, Brian Hook from the Wilson Center, and Keisha Lance Bottoms from the President's Export Council. He notes at the bottom, you're fired. All caps, exclamation point. Folks, this is only, just to the lefties now and to the media people who I know what you're doing. I know you're getting ready to line up all your resources. We are not going to let you do what you did last time. You have no influence. 30% of America, 70% doesn't trust you. 30% of Americans think you're reliable. 70% think you're not. You are in no position of power. Understand you were negotiating from a very sincere point of weakness right now. I say that from the bottom of my heart. You could get your credibility back, but you're making no effort to do it because you're using the same exact battle plan you did in 2016. Argue about crowd size. Call Elon a Nazi. It didn't work for you in 2016. You stole it in 2020. It didn't work for you in 2024, and you're trying it again. Folks, it's not going to happen. Robbie Starbuck will be on my radio show later. I don't know if you know Robbie Starbuck. He's a really good guy. He's been an activist against DEI for a long time. Robbie Starbuck has a fascinating tweet up here, too. An NSA whistleblower alerted him that the NSA is now attempting to hide their DEI programs from Trump by renaming it the Equal Opportunity and Accessibility Group. As you can see, the training is the same, and you'll find DEIA as a tradecraft. Must be stopped. Folks, people within the federal government understand right now that if they change the title and if their bosses vouch for them, that they may be able to escape, this total personnel warfare I've been talking about. We are not going to let it happen. Robbie will be on my radio show at 1:30 p.m. Eastern today to talk about it. Why is it not going to happen? Here's a warning to deep state insiders. I'm trying to help the administration, but this may de facto help you too. Resign now. Whistleblowers are everywhere. You are not going to be able to get away with this stuff. There is zero chance. It is not going to happen. Robbie has whistleblowers inside corporate America, inside the government. You are not going to be able to do it. Epic times. As Trump takes the wheel, big corporations extricate themselves from DEI. Corporations are starting to realize they were on no legal grounds, folks. Did you see Donald Trump ordering his the Department of Education, DOJ, and others to look into these discrimination programs in colleges where Asian Americans, Jewish Americans, white Americans are discriminated against? You treat people according to their skin color, you're going to treat people unequally. I thought we'd learned that lesson. Apparently not. Folks, you cannot let the media concentrate their fire. You have to remember in 2016, this all started with the Mike Flynn episode. They understood if they could isolate and target Mike Flynn, and if the incoming administration got bogged down and they hit them with these fake collusion allegations, that's what they would focus on and everything else would go by the wayside. The Trump team has learned about this. They're telling it as they attack their nominees. They say, that's bullshit. That's bullshit. We're moving on. And they're hitting them with another one. You hit them with Hegseth, hit them with Bobby Kennedy, hit them with Tulsi Gabbard. Then they can't focus on one person. I want to focus on the status of the Trump cabinet, what's coming together. This is important stuff. There is a new faux allegation against Pete Hegseth. I hate to even address this stuff, but strategically, you have to understand what they're doing. They're grasping right now at straws. They have nothing on the guy. They're afraid Pete is going to come in there and dismantle this woke military operation they've been putting together forever that's meant to destroy the United States from within. And they are grasping at straws to try to stop it. It's not going to work. It's all a scam. I'll show you what I mean coming up next. Let me take a quick break and I'll get right back to that. No, not that one. There we go. Today's show brought to you by Patriot Mobile. Listen, we may have won this election in the fight to restore our great nation, but it's only beginning. Now's the time to take a stand, and Patriot Mobile is leading the charge. As America's only Christian conservative wireless provider, Patriot Mobile offers a way to vote with your wallet without compromising on quality or convenience. Patriot Mobile isn't just about providing exceptional cell phone service. It's a call to action to defend our rights and freedoms. With Patriot Mobile, you'll get outstanding nationwide coverage because they operate on all three major networks. If you have cell phone service today, you can get cell phone service with Patriot Mobile with a coverage guarantee. But the difference is every dollar you spend with Patriot Mobile supports a company that believes in the First and Second Amendments, the sanctity of life, and our veteran and first responder heroes. Switching is easy. Keep your number, keep your phone, or upgrade. Their 100% U.S.-based customer support team will help you find the perfect plan. So right now, go to patriotmobile.com/Dan or call 972-PATRIOT and get a free month of service with promo code Dan. Switch to Patriot Mobile today and defend freedom with every call and text you make. Visit patriotmobile.com/Dan or call 972-PATRIOT. As I told you with my Rock'em Sock'em Robots theory, again, Bannon calls it flood the zone. Call it whatever you want. It doesn't matter to me. It's the strategy that matters. If you flood the zone, you cannot have them focus and isolate the target because there's no target to isolate, okay? They're trying this now with Pete. I don't know if you missed this story. It broke kind of last night. I say story loosely because it's totally fabricated. How do I know it's fabricated? Because the parties to the story are all denying it. Pete, the wife, the family, everyone else. Senate learns of new allegations against Hegseth. The defense secretary nominee's former sister-in-law in an affidavit said she witnessed his drunken aggression and that his second wife worried about her safety. Fascinating story. Why do I say fascinating? Because they reached out to the second wife. You would think the second wife would have something to say about it, right? I mean, it's her story. The second wife said these claims are totally inaccurate, they're ridiculous, and that she was contacting her attorney and that no one speaks for her. That's kind of fascinating that the media that supposedly prides themselves on independent journalism, democracy dies in the darkness and all, has the opportunity to speak to the woman directly. She entirely, completely refutes the story, and then they run it anyway. I mean, what about the woman who claims she was molested by Joe Biden? Did she ever get her story in the media? What about the shower story in the diary with Joe Biden stuff? Is that ever going to play in the media? Chuck Ross notes, here's the mechanism at play with the Hegseth allegation. It's the same as the Steele dossier. A source provides an allegation through official channels. The Senate went and looked for this, the Democrat Senate. That makes it reportable for news outlets whether the underlying claim is accurate or not. You see what Chuck, he's at Chuck Ross, DC, good follow, by the way. Chuck Ross covered the Russia collusion hoax and Spygate as well as anyone. Here's what Ross is, this is the media scam. If a party makes an allegation against a Democrat, first the story's ignored and buried. If a source comes through to confirm the story, then they attack the source and make sure they make the story about the source and then bury it. If the story still makes it through to the mainstream media about a Democrat and the source winds up somehow breaking through the media wall of silence, what do? They write a story about Republicans pouncing. The story becomes about the Republican reaction to it. It doesn't become about the Democrat story. You get it? Ignore the story at first. Attack the source if the story is confirmed by the source. If that doesn't work, ignore the story by focusing on the Republicans' reaction. Put Republicans pounce on Adam Schiff's. This is what they do. Thank you. Every single time. I always forget we have that. Every single time. This is what they do. But when it's an allegation against a Republican, Chuck Ross is correct. What you do is you have a Democrat senator initiate a fake investigation into a charge they know is false. Pete Hegseth, drunk and aggressive. They know it's fake, okay? So what do? They go out and search for someone who doesn't like Pete. They get them to say something that fits the narrative, true or not. The media then says, well, we can't confirm it, but I want you to know left-wing commie Senator Dick Durbin is talking about this with someone. And it's a way to get the story out there without getting the story out there and doing actual journalism to confirm it. You see what they do? Every single time, ladies and gentlemen. It's called the wrap-up smear. Where have we heard that before? Nancy Pelosi, who's usually tactically pretty smart, was once dumb enough to air how exactly this works, the wrap-up smear, by telling you how they do what they do. If you've not seen this clip, this is one of those save and preserves, and show it to your lefty friends later, because she's describing how it doesn't matter if it's true or not. All that matters is the smear is out there, they wrap it up, and they run away. Don't listen to me. Listen to her. Check this out.
It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. You demonize, and then we call it the wrap-up smear. If you want to talk politics, you call it the wrap-up smear. You smear somebody with falsehoods and all the rest, and then you merchandise it. And then you write it, and they'll say, see, it's reported in the press that this, and this. So they have that validation that the press reported the smear. And then it's called the wrap-up smear. Now I'm going to merchandise the press's report on the smear that we made.
I mean, she's laying out the left-wing Saul Alinsky type game plan for you. I mean, what part of this could you possibly be confused about? She's telling you how they do it. This is how they make this stuff up. And if it wasn't for a biased, ridiculously biased left-wing media that would give this stuff oxygen, this fire would die out. Don't be depressed about it, though. I don't mean today's show. This is a glorious week. I'm telling you, man. From Monday on, this has just been something really spectacular for me to live through, to see Donald Trump in the greatest political survival story we've ever seen in our lifetime. It's really incredible this week. And the good news is, again, the Democrats are out of power. The Democrats' brand is at the lowest public approval rating globally. I showed you that story the other day. And it's been in years. The media has lost its power to get a narrative across. Their Saul Alinsky type tactics have been exposed by this show, Bannon and others. You now see it in advance. I always use that bloodbath analogy with the car thing, how they tried to make that stick and we totally, completely defeated them. Nothing they're doing is working anymore. Everything we're doing is working. But they are trying to throw the old cliche, the monkey wrench in the machinery. But they are trying to do it to stop these nominees from getting appointed quickly and to have a Trump government from functioning. See this reported on Twitter. Democrats are desperate to stop Trump from making America great again. Freshman Senator Schiff placed a 7-day hold on Pam Bondi's confirmation as Trump's attorney general. Folks, this is only meant to happen because Adam Schiff is a lunatic. His donors are pushing him to, quote, do something, even if the something is counterproductive. There's absolutely no reason to stop this other than you're bought off by the donor class that wants you to cause chaos. There's no reason to stop this whatsoever. Yesterday, there was another debacle too, folks. One of the things I'm most proud of, and I've been a small part of this, but it's one of our prouder moments, is this show's focus on dismantling the DEI infrastructure of the left. There's a business in it. Being a racist, there's a business in it on the left. People like Robbie Starbuck and others out there have done a lot of legwork on this, but I'm proud to be a part of this. This is what destroyed the left. I'd say outside of the border and inflation, this is one of the top 3 issues. It's been their focus on identity politics, and it's for a reason. The reason this destroyed the left is it's not a victimless crime. Playing identity politics is a zero-sum game. There isn't a person in America right now who doesn't know someone who's been a victim of this. You don't meet the appropriate racial or sexual orientation category, you were passed up for a promotion. Asian Americans kept out of colleges with a perfect SAT score, the college they want, because they weren't the preferred minority. This stuff has impacted everyone, and it pisses people off. If there is one single cultural, political issue at the time, inflation being economic, the border being national security, that is decimated and will continue to decimate the left, it is without a doubt this focus on DEI. So what happens yesterday? I'm going to get into this in a little detail because this matters to me, having done advanced work in the past. We can't have this going forward. Donald Trump, J.D. Vance, and their families, in this tradition that happens just about every cycle, which is probably done now thanks to this lady who destroyed it, goes to this national prayer service thing the day after the inauguration. Just so you know, it pretty much happens in every presidential inauguration afterwards. This is probably the end of it. You can thank this bishop. She's really a political activist, deserves no respect from you at all. And this fake bishop in church decides it's a good idea from the pulpit to attack Donald Trump with a political speech. Now, let me say in advance, because I'm not a hypocrite. You may be surprised by that. I don't mind addressing political issues in church at all. Matter of fact, Father Marty, who's a good friend, has no problem whatsoever going after current issues and tying it to faith and religion. I'm not a fraud. What I have a problem with is the decorum here. This is a national unity prayer breakfast for Donald Trump. If you don't like Donald Trump and his issues, then you're not the person to speak there. You take this as an opportunity to ruin the whole thing for everybody? Watch this debacle. Check this out.
In the name of our God, I ask you to have mercy upon the people in our country who are scared now. There are gay, lesbian, and transgender children in Democratic, Republican, and independent families. Some who fear for their lives. And the people who pick our crops and clean our office buildings, who labor in poultry farms and meat packing plants, who wash the dishes after we eat in restaurants and work the night shifts in hospitals, they may not be citizens or have the proper documentation. But the vast majority of immigrants are not criminals. They pay taxes and are good neighbors. They are faithful members of our churches and mosques, synagogues, wadara, and temples.
I don't know whose reaction is better there. JD clearly looking towards the second lady, Usha, like, what the hell is going on? Like, where did they find this? Or Donald Trump sitting there like, of course, he's classy. This fake bishop isn't. Turning his head, cocking it to the side a little bit. Like, am I really listening to this right now? A lady forcing left-wing platitudes down everybody's throat on a moment of supposed national unity? Or the family. Did you see Tiffany Trump in the background? Right? Tiffany Trump is like, good for you. Tiffany stays quiet. She's not really the most vocal member of the Trump family when it comes to politics stuff. But she's sitting there like, are you for real? Like, who picked this fake bishop out there? I want to talk about this. Someone who did this for a living. This is really, I'm not trying to throw anybody in the bus, folks. But again, I'm an outcomes guy. We had a bad outcome yesterday. Trump handled it well. He was asked about it later. He said, listen, I'm not happy with this. Did you like it? It was boring. And then he posted on True Social about it. But I'm going to tell you how we avoid this stuff going forward. And it should not happen again. Quick break. Are you still sleeping on that same old uncomfortable mattress? You should upgrade to a Helix mattress like I did. Listen, I haven't slept better on anything since I got my Helix mattress well over 10 years ago. This is my second one. I sleep through the night. I only woke up this morning to get up. Usually I wake up 2-3 times in the middle of the night, especially in hotel rooms. I slept cleanly, calmly, and deeply last night. In just a few minutes, the Helix team learns about your sleep patterns and recommends the right mattress for you so you get the perfect match. Helix can help you if you sleep too hot or if you sleep. Sometimes some people, they have back pain. They sleep on their side. Some people snore. From the position you sleep into, your body type, or your unique needs, Helix will recommend the right mattress for you. So many of my listeners are getting the best sleep of their lives. So if you're a member of the Bongino Army out there, go to helixsleep.com/Dan for 27% off site-wide, plus 2 free dream pillows with a mattress purchase. That's Helix, Helix. helixsleep.com/Dan for 27% off site-wide, plus 2 free dream pillows with a mattress purchase. helixsleep.com/Dan. And our last sponsor today is Genucel. Folks, great story here. A lady named Phyllis walks into a neighborhood pharmacy in New Jersey, asks the pharmacist for an antioxidant cream for her wrinkles and skin. The pharmacist says, I'll compound one for you. Just come back tomorrow. Phyllis uses the cream for 3 days, goes to her dermatologist appointment, and the doctor looks at her and thinks, you just had work done. And believe it or not, that's how Genucel Skincare was born. Genucel Skincare is the official skincare. My wife, Paula, and the rest of the Bongino Army. That was 25 years ago. Genucel shipped millions of orders since. They have the same philosophy of antioxidants, the same base, and the same chef in the kitchen. Celebrating 25 years, Genucel is offering the best pricing since Phyllis walked into that pharmacy. Right now, save over 70% off. Genucel's complete skincare package featuring the Genucel under-eye bags and puffiness serum, jawline sculpting treatment, and immediate effects for results in minutes. Look 5, 10, even 15 years younger. Go to genucel.com/Dan, GENUCEL.com/Dan. As a special gift, every package order includes a bonus beauty box with 2 skincare bestsellers plus free priority shipping. genucel.com/Dan, GENUCEL.com/Dan. Check it out. So, back to the story about the church, the fake bishop, the ridiculous, pompous, arrogant lecturing of Donald Trump. Take that spot off the screen. The ridiculous, arrogant lecturing of Donald Trump, which I'm frankly sick of. I am not a fraud. Again, I don't have a problem with people speaking out, pastors, preachers, imams, rabbis. I don't care. I don't care. You have a whole bunch of prescriptions on that stuff and supposedly whatever. I'm not getting into that. I don't care. Justin goes to the same church I do. Father Marty will address these issues and tie him to faith all the time. Cool, great. The problem is, have some class. The Biden administration would never ask me to go speak at a podcast event where Joe Biden was going to attend because they know I would probably say, Mr. President, you suck. So my first question here is, folks, when you go out to an event, I don't want to beat this to death, but when you go out to an event with the now president, okay, and he's sitting there. Look at this, Tiffany. I love it. Tiffany's like, what the hell am I listening to? Laura Trump is like, really? Eric's like, who the hell picked this woman? You have staff advanced people, Secret Service advanced people, and WAMO people, White House military, so military advanced people, okay? They all have a mission. The Secret Service's mission is not to get involved in the politics at all. The Secret Service only has one concern at this event. Is this bishop a threat to Donald Trump or not? If the answer is no, what she says is not our business. Why? Very simply, the Secret Service is a law enforcement entity that has very serious First Amendment concerns. They cannot arrest this lady for speaking out. She has every right to say what she said. I think it's stupid and wrong, but it's not illegal. The Secret Service cannot get involved in that at all. Now, if she approaches Donald Trump in a threatening manner, they can get involved. Everybody got it? Get it, got it, good. No need to beat that up. The military does their military stuff, which I'll leave out of that. That's a bigger story on their advance. It is the staff's job, the staff advance, to go through the footprints, to go through who's speaking, to go through the president's actual actions, interactions, and to make sure the president's not embarrassed. Hey, man, I'm really sorry to having to bring this up, but who the hell was the staff advance on that? Man, you gotta do a better job. You can't put the president in a situation like that. You guys have seen the videos of this woman out there. They're all over the place. This woman talking about how Donald Trump, that he needs to be removed from office. She's out there outside with the N95 ridiculous mask on. Yeah, I mean, this is obviously a political activist. She's trying to tell you a story rather than the story. So going forward, I know these guys have their heads on straight because they've got some really good staffers. And folks, these things happen. The presidential inaugural committee had 1,000 things going on. I'm just saying in the future, just learn from this and make sure we're going through these speakers. And it would have taken a 5-second social media search. I mean, we could do it now. And you'd see this lady's got a ton of videos out there talking negatively about Donald Trump. Folks, they want to tell you, the media people and the left-wingers, a story, not the story. That is what they do. They're doing it again with Elon. I said to you yesterday, I don't know Elon. I met him for 5 seconds at the UFC. He was very nice. But Elon is one of these genius guys who just, I don't know. I don't have Elon's level of intellect. So the brain, I don't know. The expression of affect and emotion is just different. You see it with these ridiculously smart people all the time. They're trying to do it again. The media is playing the same playbook they did in 2016, despite getting their asses kicked 3 elections in a row. Yeah, 3. Here's Elise Stefanik, thankfully, doing the right thing up there. She's being questioned by a complete tool bag, Democrat Communist Senator Chris Murphy from Connecticut. And of course, what does he got to do? He puts the wrap-up smear out there. Elon did this like a Nazi salute. Anyone who watched that saw what Elon Musk was doing, was pointing to his heart, telling people, basically, I love you. I'm acknowledging what you're doing. But of course, because Chris Murphy's a commie and wants to do the Pelosi wrap-up smear, he needs to get it out there that Elon Musk is a Nazi because he supports the MAGA agenda. Elise Stefanik's having none of it. This is how you respond to this. You don't even accept the premise of the question and you crush it right away. Watch this.
What do you think of Elon Musk, perhaps the president's most visible advisor, doing 2 Heil Hitler salutes last night at the president's televised rally?
No, Elon Musk did not do those salutes. I was not at the rally, but I can tell you I've been at many rallies with Elon Musk, who loves to cheer when President Trump says we need to send, our U.S. space program to Mars. Elon Musk is a visionary. I'm looking forward to his work in DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency, and look forward to looking how we can be more efficient and effective. But that is simply not the case. And to say so is the American people are smart. They see through it. They support Elon Musk. We are proud to be the country of such successful entrepreneurs. That is one of our greatest strengths as Americans.
Folks, that's how you handle it. You do not even remotely accept the premise of the question. What do I mean like that? This is a teaching moment for all of us, because at times, I've been guilty of this too. You don't start explaining away why the angle of his arm was this way instead of this way, why he meant to wave or do this, but the hand was upside down. You don't get into that. This is the standard traditional. We need to tell you a story. So what do? They want you getting bogged down in the details. So the overall narrative that Elon's a Nazi and you're just explaining out the details away gets, you can watch it here. Guy and the team are putting it on the screen. Look. Obviously, if you've ever seen Elon, you know what Elon was doing, okay? You don't even accept the premise of the question. Don't even bother. The guy pointed to his heart like 10 times. You don't accept the premise of the question. You don't start arguing that, well, he should have done it, palms up. So, and one thing you never do, listen, this is super important for the political advisors out there, the team surrounding Elon. I know Elon's team knows better anyway. Again, they don't need my advice, but I'm going to throw it out there anyway because the show's called The Dan Bongino Show, okay? You do not ever apologize. Ever. You do not apologize. There are people out there going, well, Elon, just clear it up and apologize. He has nothing to apologize. Once you apologize for, you're accepting the premise that you did something wrong. Listen to me. Do not, under any circumstances, apologize. There has been no greater warrior on Twitter against anti-Semitism other than this show. None. We talk about what's going on in the Middle East, the state of Israel, all the time. Do not ever apologize if what was in your heart was pure. Don't do it. And that's how you explain it. Apologize? What the hell would I apologize for? Well, you know, it looked like a Nazi salute. Yeah, it looked like that to you because you're a crazy person. End of story. Is that similar to giving an innocent person a blanket pardon? It is. That's a good point. Why would you as an innocent person accept a blanket pardon either? It's the same thing. If Adam Kinzinger and these guys had nothing to worry about, then just call the president and say, don't pardon me, you're making me look guilty. It makes you look guilty when you apologize. Never, ever, ever do it. All right, I want to make sure I get to the January 6th. You know what? Throw that Breitbart story up. What the hell? We'll discuss this quick, too. The Denver mayor, we could reevaluate cooperation with ICE if these requests drastically increase. Folks, again, with Tom Homan and others, plow straight ahead. Do not get bogged down in any one story. You know, Joey Bag of Donuts got locked up in an ICE raid near a church. This is what they're going to try to do. Keep moving. Keep your eyes on the prize. Don't let them bog you down in a story. Keep the story in mind. The story, we are securing the border. If you were here illegally, you broke the law. We are going to come and find you, and you should not have broken the law. You should have just obeyed the law and engaged in the process. Okay, let's get to this too, because this is going to be a huge focus here in the media. Let me tell you how it's going to work going forward, because we are always weeks and months ahead of the story here. And it's not because I am some Einstein-level genius. It's because the left-wing media is so dumb and therefore so predictable. You put a piece of steak on the floor and you walk away from the dog. Are you surprised when you walk back when the dog ate the steak, even if you said, Lucy, don't eat the steak? Why? Because dogs are predictable. So are stupid media people, okay? Here's what they're going to do with January 6th. Donald Trump issued a pretty comprehensive pardon for a number of the folks involved in January 6th in and around the Capitol, okay? Some of these people were engaged in various different degrees of activities. Folks, listen, I agree with the decision. I have no problem telling you such. I pushed for it for a long time. We had Julie Kelly on the radio show yesterday. Always engage. Always evaluate the effectiveness of something by the engagement of the other side and how much they talk and how much they lose their minds over it. When you see people like Fusion Kendallanian, who it's been noted is basically an intelligence community kind of lackey, left-wing outlets have talked about this, including The Intercept. Fusion Kendallanian, who was knee-deep in the collusion hoax. When this guy's losing his mind over the January 6 pardons, you know something's wrong here. They do not want the story out there that there was federal involvement, the January 6 pipe bomber was an insider, and that a lot of these people were victims of a weaponized process. They want to keep the story about the, quote, insurrection. That's why they're so bothered about this. They wanted these legal proceedings to proceed forever so they could tell you a story. Watch this.
Ken, how is this going to play out in the next few days?
Andrea, this is going to be a really tough thing, as you saw there, for those Republican lawmakers to defend, particularly because many of them have called for the prosecution of people who attacked police officers. And look, we knew Donald Trump was going to pardon some January 6th defendants, but it is a shock that he pardoned people who are on video attacking law enforcement officers. And it is a real body blow to this building where I'm standing inside the Justice Department, because this was the single biggest criminal investigation in American history. Nearly every field office, FBI field office, and every U.S. Attorney's office participated in trying to bring these January 6th attackers to justice. It was one of the highest priorities of the Justice Department. They put intensive resources into it.
They put intensive resources into it. Why did they put intensive resources into it instead of going after BLM, Antifa terrorists, Al-Qaeda, ISIS-affiliated terrorists? Why? Because they needed to tell you a story that they wanted to go on in perpetuity, especially through the Trump administration. They were hoping to get some deep state insiders that would, sit there and push this thing endlessly. So you'd hear this story, oh, remember the insurrection? Remember the insurrection? Remember the insurrection? When you see people like Fusion Ken and NBC losing their minds over this. Oh, there it is. The CIA's mop-up man. Who are they talking about? Ken Delanian. It means the intel community is worried. Now, there are two things they're worried about, okay? Get ready, folks. Bullet point this, write this down. Number one, what they're worried about is they're worried about losing the insurrection narrative, which takes the law and order. Are you tracking me here? It takes the law and order narrative that the Republican Party owns, and it turns it on its head. How can you guys be the party of public safety and law and order if you're the party of the insurrections? You get that? Pretty simple. I mean, they won't overcomplicate it. But there's a second thing, too, and there's a reason Fusion Ken, Intel community cut out. There's a reason they're freaking out. It's because they know that there is a new sheriff in town who's just been sworn in, and that all of the federal involvement in January 6th and the pipe bomber, that may come. I say may because I don't want to get ahead of myself. I want to make sure everybody follows through. Pam Bondi, Kash Patel. Once that comes out, I promise you, it's going to shock you. Shock you. Here's Donald Trump getting into it with NBC's Peter Alexander yesterday, another deep state hack here, loser, who tries to interrupt the president on this very matter. Donald Trump sticks it right to him, just like he should. Watch this.
Take a look at the election. Just look at the numbers on the election. We won this election in a landslide because the American public is tired of people like you that are just one-sided, horrible people in terms of crime. You don't talk about all the people that have been killed and what happens to those murderers. Murderers get no time. You take a look at some of these DAs. They go after political opponents, but they don't go after people that shoot people in the street.
You see what he does there? You see how good Donald Trump is at this? He takes the question, which is not a question, it's an assertion. When did you stop beating your wife? He doesn't answer it. He turns the question on its head, and he asks Peter Alexander the question. When are you going to go after BLM and Antifa and others and the people who are really causing these problems? When are you going to stop this chaos? When are you going to advocate for law and order in the streets of liberal cities that were burned down? That's the question. Folks, the process used to target these people was clearly political. If it wasn't political, then how is it that if you were there on January 6th, pick the worst of offenders, pick someone who, there were some videos, someone who, say, attacked a police officer. I do not condone, obviously, that stuff at all. Matter of fact, I condemn it resolutely. But there is zero doubt that when the White House was attacked by BLM and Antifa, and Secret Service agents and uniformed division officers I know personally were hurt and wounded, that absolutely nothing happened to these people at all. So you can have two simultaneous thoughts at the same time, and I want you to pay attention to this. You can and should say, I am absolutely, resolutely against attacks on law enforcement for doing their job. Period there. But I am also against a greater danger, which is a weaponized Justice Department that picks and chooses when they take this stuff seriously and targets political opponents for it. And that's what happened here. I love watching the left-wing media, by the way. They're interviewing people and family members involved with the J6 prisoners here. So Alex Wagner from MSNBC decides to go out and conduct an interview here. What she's trying to do is make the story about Donald Trump to even the January 6th families and others involved, saying, hey, man, don't you feel like this guy abandoned you? Let's just say Alex Wagner does not get the answer to the question she wants. Check this out.
Was there ever any moment in jail where you were like, why am I here? You know, did you ever have any frustration with President Trump? Did you ever feel like he had landed you guys in jail?
No, absolutely not, because I believe he really just wants to make America great again. Now, why was I sitting in prison when Anthony Fauci is loose? Why am I sitting in prison when Liz Cheney is loose? Why do those people get pardons? Because they're guilty, but they were never brought to justice. And yet me, a mom, I made a mistake and broke a window at the Capitol. I'm sorry, but do I have to lose my whole life for it when we have these criminals running the government that now have pardons? That bothered me. That bothered me.
Let me ask you a question. Who seems more reasonable there? The hack, loser, MSNBC host trying to get a story out of a person being interviewed there, trying to frame Donald Trump for this thing? Or the woman answering the question who sounds totally logical and reasonable and just absolutely fillets Alex Wagner? Who sounds more reasonable there? Always measure the impact of what you're doing by the response of your political enemies. This is not a hard truth to digest in your manual of political truths. If they're losing their minds over something, it's for a reason. Folks, if they really thought this was politically damaging to Donald Trump after this election, they would let it happen and they would stop losing their minds, freaking out in the media over it. They would put out a few papers and talking points and do their interviews, and that's it. They are melting down over this. Here's another one. Dan Goldman, who I don't know if you know this, he is the dumbest male member of Congress, AOC, of course, being the dumbest overall. Dan Goldman was knee-deep in the Russia hoax. Matter of fact, put up that Fox News story. Go in reverse a little bit. Dan Goldman was knee-deep in all of it. The Hunter Biden laptop deal. He was a lawyer before and worked with Adam Schiff and others on the Russia collusion hoax. Here's Dan Goldman denies Hunter Biden laptop is real. Revives debunked Russian misinformation theory. This is who Dan Goldman is. Dan Goldman is terrified with Donald Trump coming back into office the second time and ready to engage in big declassifications of information about this. Dan Goldman needs to talk about something else. So he needs to focus on the insurrection and the January 6th stuff. That's why you see this reaction from Dan Goldman in a media interview. Pay close attention. He can't have you talking about the real weaponization of government. Check this out.
What do you think that says to these people? It absolutely creates an emboldened and buttressed group of far-right extremists that exert and conduct political violence, and it is corrupting our system, because I know some of my colleagues are afraid right now. And if you're afraid physically or you're afraid for your family, that has an impact on how you do your job as an elected official. That is authoritarianism. That is not democracy.
It's authoritarianism, folks. Dan Goldman said so. This is the guy who, in conjunction with Adam Schiff, Swalwell, and others, made sure to use the tools of government to attack Donald Trump, to attack his team, ruin the presidency, and cause a major international incident. Excuse me. Folks, Donald Trump's team has to ignore this stuff and plow ahead. They have to continue the rock'em sock'em robots theory, keep hitting them every single day and getting things done. It will not allow I can't say it enough. If I might read the chat. Is this getting annoying, the rock'em sock'em robots? Folks in the chat, let me know. If it is, you got to let me know the show's for you. But it is so important that we hammer home to them and we use this show on the outside to kind of be a fortress for Donald Trump against left-wing hysteria. I want to make sure his team knows that these tactics will work, because I know what it's like to be that. No, thank you. You guys are the best. Look at you in the chat. I love it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. You reinforce what I'm saying is true. Here's why I'm doing this. I know what it's like to work inside government. Granted, not on the political side and the security side. I don't want to exaggerate my role. But I've seen it. I've seen these guys, and they're kind of like, they're intimate conversations about stuff. What the left-wing media says, even though very few of you are paying attention to it, other people do. And they're going to start to second guess themselves. It's not that the Trump team is weak, or it's just that's the nature of the beast. Man, are we doing this right? Are we doing this right? The answer is yes. Keep hitting them with stuff every single day. Keep getting things done. Plow straight ahead. Ignore these people on the left. And the minute they get you bogged down in one thing, hit them with 10 more things. And I promise you they'll change the story the next day. Here's one of them on the getting things done front. Donald Trump has a little presser yesterday in the White House. The guy's done more press conferences now than he did Joe Biden did the whole time. Here he is talking about a new proposal to boost our AI capabilities in conjunction with some private sector partners. A lot of people had some beefs with this, especially the section that involved mRNA, cancer vaccines. Obviously, two things very sensitive to me. But I ask you not to get bogged down, and we can talk about that too, and we will. However, I want you to focus on this part first, because this is the kind of thing they went wild about too. They're like, oh, there's a new oligarchy out there of rich people influencing the government. Notice they don't seem to care about George Soros or any of these left-wingers in Silicon Valley when they were supporting leftists. Here, check this out. This is Trump's Stargate proposal.
Together, these world-leading technology giants are announcing the formation of Stargate. So put that name down in your books, because I think you're going to hear a lot about it in the future. A new American company that will invest $500 billion at least in AI infrastructure in the United States and very, very quickly, moving very rapidly, creating over 100,000 American jobs almost immediately. This monumental undertaking is a resounding declaration of confidence in America's potential under a new president. Let me be a new president. I didn't say it, they did. So I appreciate that, fellas.
Folks, hundreds of billions of dollars flowing back into the United States economy. This is the kind of stuff that drives the left wild. Why would it drive the left wild? It's a growing economy because they don't care, ladies and gentlemen. Anything that makes Donald Trump look good, including a fattening of their own wallets, is the enemy of the left. They care about power. Donald Trump took it from every branch of government, including in the Supreme Court, where we're barely holding on to a majority. That's why they're bitter about it. Hey, thanks again for tuning in. Thanks for your patience yesterday. Really appreciate it. Check out yesterday's show. It was a good one, 3 o'clock, which was a weird time for us. We're here every day at 11 a.m. live on Rumble. Go to rumble.com/Bongino. Download the Rumble app. It is free. We really appreciate your support. Rumble's doing huge things, big things coming in the future. We love Rumble. It has been so good to us. Thank you very much. Please also go to Apple and Spotify. Look up the Dan Bongino Show. And if you would, give us a follow there. We deeply appreciate it. I appreciate it. See you back here tomorrow at 11 a.m. live. Thanks for tuning in.
You just heard the Dan Bongino Show.